G'day and welcome to the Grow a Small Business Podcast. I'm your host, Troy Trewin. Each week, we speak with an owner who has grown a business with 5 to 30 team members to something bigger. Diving into their numbers and unearthing the pain they've experienced, we explore what they did to overcome each barrier and what they would do differently from day one. Let's get into it. Welcome everyone. Today I'm interviewing Cath McDowell from Howrah Plumbing, based here in Hobart, Australia. Thanks for your time today, Cath.
Thank you for having me.
Let's start with how we know each other. Amanda Jones from Collins SBA, a great financial planning and accounting firm here in Hobart, put us in touch. You've known Amanda for a while.
Yes, for about 4 years. I've been involved with a couple of little projects that she's run. International Women's Day, they do events at Collins SBA office, and she invited me along last year, so it was really good. And she also has great information on marketing and who to use in that field, and which wasn't really one of my specialties. So yeah.
Yep, she's great. Tell our audience a bit about your business, what it does and how it makes money.
Yeah, sure. So we're a plumbing company in southern Tasmania. We have 47 people that work for us. 11 of those are apprentices, and a good management and office base based in Mornington on the Eastern Shore. We have a large construction division that focuses on new schools. For example, we're doing Brighton High School at the moment, which is a 2-year project, quite a large project. We've had 9 people on site most of the time while that's been going on. And we also have maintenance plumbers that go into homes and rental properties and clear block drains and replace hot water cylinders. So
right.
Those sorts of jobs as well. Yeah.
And how did you start out?
I finished year 10 and I went on to year 11 at one of the local colleges here. And I think I lasted a week before I said to my mum, I really have too much spare time in my lunch break on my hands and I really don't like it. So she said, if you can find a job, then you can leave school. So I found a local joiner, and I applied for a job as an office trainee, doing a traineeship, and I did that. I was with them for about 1.5 years and then stumbled into Howrah Plumbing, where they were looking for a receptionist. So I think I was 18 at the time when I started at Howrah Plumbing. That was 29 years ago. The business has been around for 42 years. So it was still relatively small when I first started, with about 8 plumbers. And I've been sort of worked my way up in the business ever since. The original owner retired 2 years ago, and that's when I bought the business off him.
Oh, fantastic.
Yeah.
And so the original owner from 42 years ago?
Yes.
Wow.
Yes. Yeah.
And do you have some key numbers you can share to illustrate the growth of the business over the years?
Yeah, sure. So at one stage we had an office in Burnie, and we also had another office in Launceston. So at that time we had a staff level of around 102, I think was the most that we had at any one time. About 8 years ago, we decided to bring that back just to southern Tasmania. We have had staffing levels of around 50 for most of that time period. We recently did a lot of work on our marketing and using a program called Bird Eye through Aaron McGurk, and we've seen our created jobs per month. They're sitting at about 650 jobs per month across the divisions. Has raised significantly in the last couple of months to about 896 we covered off in May. And we're heading for the same sort of figures in July. So we've had, it's just in that small period of time, quite significant growth within the business. I think in 2010, I was looking at some figures today, we were sitting at about $6 million for the year, and we're sitting about 11.4 for the year just gone. So yeah.
It doubled in 14 years.
Yeah.
That's great. Well done.
Thank you.
When was the moment you felt like you had succeeded?
Oh, that's a good question, really. I guess because I'd never done any real formal training, and I'm not a plumber, so I hadn't done my apprenticeship. I really focused from about 2011 onwards of making sure that I had done certain different courses every year, and really worked on myself and my growth, whether it be bookkeeping or management training, leadership training. 2 years ago, I did the UTAS diploma in construction management. So I finally graduated from uni. I didn't think that had ever happened, but I did. And I think it was probably around that point that, I just felt really proud of what I'd done. I'd taken over the business as well, which was quite quite big for me. It was, my role hadn't really changed significantly. I'd sort of been managing the business for quite a few years, but I guess I was dealing with my money now instead of someone else's. So it was, yeah. So I think sort of at that point when I bought the business and took over.
Yeah, that's a great achievement. Well done.
Thank you.
What does success look like to you?
I think success definitely is customer satisfaction and our workers, making sure they're supported and looked after and they're all happy. So I really focus a lot on making sure that I have those good conversations with everyone that works here, performance reviews, making sure that they've got the tools that they need, the training that they need to do their job. If there's an area that they want to focus on that they're not currently working in, that's an opportunity that we can discuss. And definitely customer satisfaction. Without the customers, then none of us would be here. So just building those relationships and, you get a large builder that comes to you to talk to you about a price before it goes out to tender. And I think that's really shows that we're succeeding in just building those relationships and having the builders trust us with the information that we can give them.
Number one thing you'd recommend to marketing a fast-growing business?
Definitely, I guess I've learned a lot in the last 6 months about SEO, Google reviews, and just how significant they can be for the business and also how damaging they can also be for the business. So if you're not on top of your customer complaints, we're not perfect and we do get things wrong. But I think if you can pick up your phone the same day that something does go wrong and have that one-on-one discussion with the customer and try and appease them and make it right and fix the problem, then you're already at the forefront of that issue. So I think that's really important as well.
So until recently, you hadn't really or seriously invested in marketing, but you've had now having a much bigger focus on it?
Yes, definitely. Yeah.
Yeah.
Just through meeting Aaron, I guess, and looking at things a little bit different. We've always done radio and we've done TV in the past as well, and that's sort of the extent of our advertising. But that's all got their place, of course, but it's sort of more measurable. The online advertising, the YouTube's quite measurable, and to see the reports each month and know that that's making a difference is really good.
Yeah, I love the digital age because nearly everything can be measured.
Yeah, all the clicks and that sort of stuff is great.
It's something we talk about, and we wrote a marketing funding flywheel ebook, and there's 3 principles we talk about at the start, which is the first one is track the right data, then test, and test again, and looking at your lifetime to customer acquisition cost ratio, LTV to CAC. So yeah, it's so much easier these days than the old traditional marketing billboards or TV.
Yeah, and we used to pick up the phone when a new customer rang and say, "Oh, how did you hear about us?" And half the time they'd say, "I saw you on TV, but you weren't actually advertising on TV, so you don't really know." I remember going into the bank years ago and I had my uniform on, and a little old lady said to me at the counter, she said, "Oh, I see your husband everywhere." I was like, "Oh, well, I don't have a husband." And there's probably about 30 guys on the road that wear the same uniform and drive around in their cars. So there's a lot of them. But yeah, just.
And how did you fund the business?
So we've always been traditionally with ANZ Bank from when I started the business. They were our banker. We ended up having discussion about that. I funded it through property that I owned already, so it was just assets, and it was a bit of work. It was about a year getting the contract finalised and sorting out funding and that sort of stuff. So yeah, it's a bit involved.
Have you considered doing an ESOP, employee share ownership plan?
No, I haven't. Always interested in investigating that side of things and how other companies do that, I guess, especially for not so much recruiting, but keeping your staff around, and giving back to them as much as you can. So yeah,
I'll send you through a couple of casts.
That'd be great.
One on ESOPs we did about 4 years ago with Craig West. These figures are burned into my brain. Productivity can increase by 21%. Retention can double from around 5 years to just under 10. And there's a heap of other benefits in there as well. It's not just the tax, cash flow benefits as well. And I'll send you an awesome book if you haven't read The Great Game of Business by Jack Stack.
No, I haven't. No.
Written early 90s. From a manufacturing business, so I think you'd relate to it more than, say, a professional services business. And they definitely, pretty much is the godfather of open book management. So training your team how to read P&L's balance sheet, had profit share, like a really interesting, they went through many different ways of doing a profit share until they landed on the one they've used now for decades, which he explains in the book, which is excellent, but also talks about the benefits of going with an ESOP as well. So I'll shoot those through to you.
Yeah, thank you. Thanks.
If you were to start up today with plenty of funding, would you go into your industry?
Oh, I think I could easily say yes, because it's the industry that I know and I've been in forever. So I don't know what else I'd do. I'll, occasionally throughout my journey here, I thought, oh, what else could I do if something didn't work out? And it was never a good thought. So I think I would go into this industry.
Can you outline the most stressful point in your small business growth journey so audience can learn from it?
Yeah, sure. So probably about 10 years ago, there was a series of events that left us in financial hardship. That was when we sold the Burnie office and closed the Launceston office down. So that was before I took ownership. There was significant tax debt in the business to the value of about $3 million. So it was a really hard time. We had to sort of close those parts of the businesses down really quickly and recover costs from vehicles and things like that, and refinance a lot of things. So a lot of hard work went into that by everybody at that time to really build it back up to where it is now. A lot of stress, and learn how resilient you can be in those times as well. Major stress on a lot of people that were here at that time.
Yeah, I could imagine.
Yeah.
I'll send you through another cast I did probably 2 or 3 years ago now. Andy and Ange Smith out of Sydney. They had a business called Dr. Drip, which Andy was a plumber. He started in 2000 in Sydney, built it up to a team of 17 people. And then it was only a year or so before we hit record, he'd sold that business. And the 10 years leading up to that, he only spent 2 hours a week on that business, because just after the GFC, they were doing really well, making $50,000 profit a month, but then turned into $50,000 loss each month. And they spent 18 months diving into the business, pulling everything apart to find what the problems were and fixing them. And their mentor said, you should teach other tradies how to do what you guys have just done to turn your own business around. So then from 2010, they started Lifestyle Tradie, which is an online course and community for tradies, and they've helped thousands of tradies around the world. So, but just that story of growing the business, the Dr. Drip business for those first 9 years before they started the Lifestyle Tradie, is a really interesting one.
Yeah. Did they look at how they'd grown? Had they grown too quick or something like that?
Yeah, I think so. And they just took their eyes off. They weren't tracking a lot of key numbers. They were just pretty much running the business out of the bank balance. So not a lot of systems, not costing jobs properly because they weren't tracking the right data and looking at, job costing and things like that. And because they got so busy. So, you've got to constrain that growth sometimes to let the operations and the back office catch up before you go to that next level.
Yes.
And also marketing as well. They fixed a lot of their marketing, so they're getting the right work, the right clients.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
What area in business do you feel you've had to work on the most to add the greatest value?
I think getting out and being on site more around the larger construction. I had left it to the construction manager, I guess, more so to be involved with that role. But it is something I really enjoy. I love getting out on site and checking in with the plumbers, and the apprentices, how they're all going, catching up with the builders to make sure that everything's tracking okay and they're happy with our performance and there's no issues. And I really hadn't done that up until maybe 12 months or so ago. I really spent significant time out on jobs, at least one day a week. I'd go out around the job sites, meet with the builders and make sure that, they were happy with everything. So, and it's sort of part of it, building relationships with everyone as well. So, yeah.
What have you enjoyed the least about managing fast growth?
Just being too busy. My calendar is flat out. Like there's, today's been pretty much back-to-back meetings, and some days I reflect on, what it was like a few years ago, and just think maybe it'd be nice to have a few days where I didn't have any commitments. But in saying that, I still do enjoy, everything that it does involve. But yeah, just that time, I guess, and the dedication and the commitment, and not barely being able to take your foot off the pedal for a long period of time.
What do you love most about growing a small business?
I love it all. Just I guess the people that I meet and we've recently had a couple of new people start, so just getting to meet them. They've given me really good feedback. I was just talking to one today. He's a labourer. He came from another local company that just recently closed down, and he just praised our business so much and what we do for our employees, I guess. And I said to him, well, I don't really know any difference, so it's really good to get that feedback from, people that have come from other companies or other industries or areas of work in their life, and just to get that great feedback is awesome.
What has been the biggest mindset shift for you in your small business growth journey?
Probably just shifting from being one of the workers to having responsibility, and people now come to me for that final say in things. And yeah, I think I still need to do some work on people bring me solutions rather than problems. That's an area that I need to work on myself, because I quickly just go, oh yeah, just do this. But for someone to learn, and I also just delegating. Like I have now learned that there is benefit in delegating, but it took me a lot of time to realise the benefits of that. You have to put so much time into training someone new, but in the long run, that's definitely valuable. And yeah.
Yeah, it's hard for us business owners because I think it's in our DNA to be control freaks and perfectionists.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, and no one can do it as good as we can. That's what you think, but they actually can.
That's right.
Yeah.
I'm a reformed perfectionist.
Yeah, okay, good.
The number one habit you think a small business owner needs to develop and maintain?
Customer focus, definitely. If you do the wrong thing by one customer, then they're going to tell multiple people. So just having that focus and making sure you're on top of any issues that might pop up from time to time, or if a plumber's done the wrong thing, or we've had a few instances where there's been a leak after we've been and it's damaged something in their house. Make sure you fix it. Make sure you're on the phone to them straight away. That sort of thing. But it goes a long way, I think.
Are one or more of these growth pillars standing in the way of you living the lifestyle you've signed up for? People, strategy, marketing, funding, or systems? We have a free ebook filled with actions and templates on each of these growth pillars. Download for free from our website, growasmallbusiness.com. Can you talk to how you've added people to the team, some wins, mistakes, and advice for those listening?
I guess recently, a lot of plumbers here know other people in the industry. We generally advertise. It's hard to get plumbers. I recently had an ad out for a roof plumber, and a month later, I just managed to have one apply that had a license. So that's sort of how hard it is. And luckily, we employed him, and he's great. So that was a benefit. But usually we'll put an ad out. We'll all share it like crazy on social media, and hopefully pick up one or two people to interview. As far as managers go, generally someone will know someone with a skill set that we're looking for and approach them, or they'll give me a call. Apprentices, no problems. I would have at least 3 emails a week from young people looking for apprenticeships and jobs. And we use work experience a lot. We take on anyone from any school that wants to do work experience, and we will employ that way for our apprentices. But in saying that, we also have a lot of mature age apprentices. So probably 50% of them are mature age. They've already done a trade. They're looking to develop themselves and their skills, and they just bring another skill set to the team. They're usually, they're more mature, and they have a family and need to have a job. So.
What about any tips or mistakes around the actual recruitment process? Any times you've got it wrong?
Yeah, definitely. Get it wrong. So I guess you can write whatever you want in a resume and it can look quite believable, but just learning that that probation period is actually quite important. And while someone's in their probation period, to get feedback from the people that they're working with to see how they are tracking, and just to keep up that communication to make sure they're happy and doing everything that they know how to do and are capable of doing the tasks. So yeah, I don't always get it right, fortunately.
And what are some of the things you recommend to building a sustainable and kick-ass culture to help with the growth?
I think it goes down to what happens outside work and what we can do for our workers. I'm big on social events. Our annual golf day, I take the office to the local CrossFit centre, which is 2 doors away, on a Tuesday and Thursday, and we do an hour session in the gym just with Howrah Plumbing people. They love it. They get out of the office for an hour. If they didn't, we'd probably all just sit here and work through our lunch breaks. So just doing that, rewarding staff and congratulating them, we get really good feedback, and sometimes clients will mention the plumber's name. So just sending that email out to the whole team and saying, well done, such and such on this job. You did a great job today. And yeah, definitely.
Yeah, it's something that we recommend in your weekly team email, pulling something out of a review or a customer feedback form, particularly if it mentions a person. That's just a great way to give positive feedback. And tell our audience how you've handled balance.
Work life.
Yeah.
That's another great question. I guess years ago, I was a single mum and I had my children week on, week off. So the week that I didn't have my daughters, I would spend a lot of time at work. And the week that I did have them, I would spend less time at work, and my focus was on them. So that was the start of my training journey and the courses that I undertook, and really focused that spare time that I had would be on training and building my knowledge and that, what I was capable of. And now more so, I guess the girls are older and I don't need to work as much. So we still go on family camping trips and bushwalking and spend, good time with each other. And that's about, yeah.
How much professional development have you invested in yourself?
Yeah, a lot. Every year I would make sure that I was doing something. So I've done bookkeeping, Australian Institute of Management, Diploma of Business Management, Australian Institute of Company Director course, auditing courses, Women in Leadership Australia, mental health first aid, a lot of practical skills for the plumbers as well, HSR and working at heights. And then my uni course was the last 2 years. So that finished in 2023, and I haven't taken up a course this year, which is I'm actually enjoying, just focusing on the team and the management team as well, and working with them in their areas more so.
Would you want to do like a course on marketing?
Yeah, I think so. It's definitely one area that I feel a bit overwhelmed by. There's so many, I don't know, there's so much online information that I don't understand, and don't understand how it all goes in together. I guess I do a little bit more now that I can see it working for the business, and working with Aaron, like, can see how there's advantages in knowing exactly what to do and when to do it. But yeah, definitely that would be something that I could focus on.
Yeah, more on the marketing from a strategy point of view and the fundamentals. I'll send you through a podcast I did, a hilarious podcast I did with Mark Ritson. Have you heard of Mark?
I think I know the name.
He's English. He was a marketing professor. I think it was 3 years ago I recorded him on the cast. And at that point, he had 25 years as a marketing professor. So at London Business School, Melbourne Business School, MIT, plus did a lot of consulting. So the Louis Vuitton Flight Centre here in Australia. So he's very, very good. Swears almost as much. Oh, he probably swears more than me, as you'll hear on the podcast.
I haven't even heard you swear today.
I know. It's very unnatural for me. I'll slip one in before we finish.
Yeah, good.
He's awesome. And when his first child came along probably 8 years ago, he decided he didn't want to be traveling 6 months of the year. So he blatantly says in the podcast the reason he wanted to become a young marketing professor was so he could meet girls. And he happened to meet a Tasmanian when he was, I think, lecturing somewhere in Europe. Might have been in London because there's a lot of Aussies working in the pubs there. Anyway, they got married. They live down at Cygnet now, just for the audience.
Yeah.
Half an hour south of Hobart, where Cath and I live. And it's hilarious. So he wanted to stop traveling 6 months of the year and spend time with the kids. So he pivoted to putting all his marketing knowledge into some online courses. So the mini MBA in marketing is one that we highly recommend people look at doing if you want to really understand. And Amanda, I know, is a big fan of Mark Ritson.
Yeah, okay.
So I'll shoot you through that.
That'd be good. Thanks.
Yeah. Have you had mentors or coaches along the way?
Yeah, a few. I remember when I was doing my one of my diplomas, leadership management, Christine Storm took us for that training, and I just learned a lot from her. And after the trainings, spent some time with her, and really appreciated those learnings. That's years ago, and I haven't seen her since. But there seems to be people that pop up every now and then that I really click with and teach me a lot, or make me think in a different way, or challenge my thoughts a little bit. You know, it's so easy to get bogged down in the day-to-day and working in the business more so than just step back and look at it from a helicopter view, I guess.
Yep.
And really do some work on it. So lots of different people along the way that I've learned a lot from.
Do you have a board of directors or advisors?
Got a small advisory board consisting of Andrew Pearce from Collins SBA and Tim Booker from Apex Advisory. So, I've known them for a long time, and I guess Tim is one of the ones that really makes me think differently about business.
Tim is as blunt as I am, I think.
Yeah, I know. I don't want to say that.
Andrew's a nice guy. Tim's going to tell you how it is.
Yeah.
That's great. How often do you meet?
Once a month.
Yeah, great.
But I'm on the phone to Tim at least twice a week. There's always something. It's like just run things by him. Yeah.
Great. Cath, we're on to our final 5 questions. What do you think is the hardest thing in growing a small business?
I guess it can be just being dedicated to that business for, 24/7 if you need to be, and being there for everyone else when they need you to be, supporting them, providing them with the tools. And definitely being committed to that. It's definitely a long-term commitment. It's not something that you can say, I'm going to do this for this week and then I'm going to do something else next month. It doesn't work like that. So just knowing that you're in the right spot at the right time of your life. And, Favorite
business book which has helped you the most?
Well, I don't actually read, so sorry, I don't have one. I've read a few books while I was doing my training courses, but I don't read.
Any great podcasts or online learning tools you use for your own professional development?
No, either. I tend not to.
One tool you'd recommend to help grow a small business?
Having the support around you, like definitely this business wouldn't be here without all the people that make it a good team. There's definitely some really supportive people that help me day to day in my journey. I can ask them anything. They can ask me, bounce stuff off me whenever they need to. We can review jobs together. We can, discuss finances if we need to about certain things. I can take their suggestions if we need to buy new equipment, and really just work as a team. It's great.
Fantastic. Finally, my favourite question. What would you tell yourself on day one of starting out?
Day one. Well, I never would have thought that it was going to be forever. Like I did, 29 years ago, next month was my first day, and I never would have thought that I would have stayed at the same company for all of my life, all of my working life so far. I don't know, maybe if I started out now, just say, take holidays when you can, as many as you can. Yeah.
Awesome. Thanks so much for your time today, Cath. I've really enjoyed our chat. Congratulations, one, on buying the business over the last couple of years, but also the 29 years there and helping grow it. Phenomenal that you've doubled top line from 2010 to 2014 and growing a great business with 47 team members now.
Yeah, absolutely.
Well done.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
That's it. Thanks for listening. Please leave a review in iTunes or whatever platform you listen to us on. It means more small business owners will find our cast and help people with their business growth journey.